You know, if I had a nickel for every time I followed up a successful reaction video with a review, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it is strange that it's happened twice now. In all seriousness, you guys seem to love the Blue Tank Engine creepypasta so much that I decided to finally confront something long buried within my childhood. But not for the typical reasons of this being a classic, not like Tom and Jerry for instance. This movie is an enigma. See, as a kid, I loved Thomas, and to be fair, I think a lot of kids grew up on the VHS tapes. I even decided to watch the first 5 seasons to see if the show holds up, which it does surprisingly well. Now I remember some specific episodes from the VHS tapes I watched, which were apparently from season 2, and specifically it was between episode 10 and episode 17. These were what I watched at my nan's back then, but there was another VHS of Thomas that hid in the cabinet. There was a movie, the very one I am facing today. Now I remember only seeing this once at my nan's, and the scenes I remember are James surrounded by a terrifying red room of death, and the antagonist falling to his death. The VHS cover itself was also bizarre, seeing Alec Baldwin talking to a bunch of flowers. Even as a kid I knew this movie was weird, and I was probably like 3. I have very weird memories. I genuinely thought this movie was some weird fever dream until a later incident occurred. As a kid I got these Thomas magazines that each came with a toy every week. These were from my nan. In fact, I think she still has them, and to my surprise, the film antagonist was very much a real character because he appeared in the magazines. Now obviously as I got older and with the introduction of social media and the internet, I was able to learn more about this film. Let's get the basics out of the way. This film is not very good, and it is ultimately regarded as the tipping point of an entire franchise. It is the subject of a lot of ridicule, and completely broke the established rules and lore of the show. I guess you could say it derailed.
On a scale from 1 to 10, my friend, you're fucked.
Basically, if Wilbur Awdry did live to see this, he'd probably burn the studio down. Just a side note, this man is very unhinged when it comes to trains. So much so that he had a massive rant about the showrunners making Henry like nature. If you want to know more about the insanity that is the creator of the Thomas the Tank Engine franchise, I would check out the video by Edache. It's quite funny. The film is also very fucking weird, to the point I genuinely believe my family refused to play it again after the first watch. What cursed movie am I dealing with today? So before we dive in, we need to bring up the show. At this point, Thomas had 5 seasons, and a good chunk of them are based on the original books. But as a whole, the show was genuinely grounded and was always implied to take place in the real world on a fictional island. A lot of the stories were based on real events, and the trains on set had everything that was expected of a train from that time period. I think it was the 50s to 60s. Hell, there was even a bit of a race war between the steam engines and diesels. The show also stayed true to being told like a story, narrator and all. But to sum up the episodes, there's usually a minor conflict, train logistics, and it usually ends with a happy ending or a life lesson. Also, banter on par with work colleagues. These trains will roast each other at a moment's notice.
Rubbish, said Thomas. You're too fat, you need exercise.
So you might be asking, how does this translate to the big screen? Well...
It was time for Thomas to leave. He had seen everything.
Jesus, how many companies made this thing?
Meet Thomas. He's our #1 hero.
Okay, first complaint, that is the wrong whistle. I'm not even a mad fan of this fucking stuff, but that thing sounds like a toy. So what, 5 seconds in and I'm already complaining? It's a new record.
It's at one end of my special universe.
What the actual fuck did you just say to me right now?
What do you mean, universe? Did Thomas do the multiverse all the way back in 2000?
By the invitation of Sir Topham Hatt, of course.
He is the Fat Controller, get it right. Oh, and speaking of him, he isn't in the movie. Regarding the plot, the fat fuck went off to, I don't know, Bristol or something, which allows the only thing to impact the IP to appear.
Get out of my way! Yeah! The fuck?
But we ain't got time for that now, as we're going to... the real world? Or the other end of the universe?
Who wrote this?
Shining Time.
Okay, we gotta talk about Shining Time quickly. Now, I had never heard of Shining Time until I watched other videos covering this movie. But let's get this over with quickly. It was an American show that was set at the station of Shining Time. Ringo Starr was the conductor and also narrated the first 2 seasons of the UK version of Thomas. The show also had episodes of Thomas in them that will link to the plot of the Shining Time episode itself. So you might be asking, what the hell is it doing in the Magic Railroad? Given Britt Allcroft adapted the original books of Thomas and also created Shining Time Station and directed this movie, It's possible Britt wanted to revive Shining Time Station for a modern audience, or merge Thomas and Shining Time into one. This is all speculation, but given 26 years onwards and Shining Time hasn't been used since this movie came out, it's fair to say this didn't really work out for them.
Every now and then,
Ah, crap, singing. Mind if I smoke?
that point's just round the bend.
Did Alec Baldwin just teleport into the scene? Okay, so you know when I said the show was very grounded, it never really strayed into anything outlandish? Like, seriously, the only thing outlandish in the show was the trains having faces. Well, we have magic now.
And by the way, I think that you're going to help me and Thomas somewhere in this story.
Excuse me, but I do not have time to help you. The fuck are you doing these days, Alec? Aren't you rich or something? Like, hire someone, washed up piece of shit. Right, now that he's pissed off, I'm going to deliver these sacks. Man, the agency has me doing some weird shit lately.
Hello, Shining Time Station Manager Stacy Jones speaking.
How the fuck do I get to Sodor? Okay, so this is Burnett, and he hides away on a mountain like a goddamn Grinch. Also, he has this train and is super depressed because the train was chased to the point it used up all its coal. How he proceeded to rescue a heavy piece of machinery is anyone's guess, let alone travel between the fucking multiverse. Again, we went from Thomas just doing something mundane like carrying carriages around to the fucking multiverse. Bro, just walk.
This is where Burnett's granddaughter, Lily, comes into our story.
Don't you think this plot is already broken enough? Okay, so night comes and more of Alex fucking not Alex, he's a cunt. More of Baldwin's madness continues.
What do you think?
Like legit, you could have called this movie the Alec Baldwin, the Sodor trip out, fucking featuring Thomas the Tank Engine at this point. Do I need to call someone? Is he okay? So while Alec is doing the only normal thing I've ever seen him do in this movie, Diesel, being the prick that he is, decides to commit terrorism. Alec uses a literal bag of sugar to scare him off, and what the fuck did I just say? So this dog called Mutt forwards the plot by sending a literal child on the wrong train. Yeah, that won't traumatize the kid. Okay, so Alec needs to get to the windmill to find his gold sparkle stuff. But then James informs us that he isn't at the windmill, meaning James went there to look for him. What's more annoying is that he was with you, you pompous red bastard. In fact, why didn't any of these trains just take him to the windmill? It clearly has rails going by it if James can go there. What follows is a scene of absolute madness.
Beach. Beach. That's it. That's it. Beach.
Okay, let's do a quick recap. Lily ends up at Shining Time. Alec Baldwin calls in his Irish cousin to help him, calling him through a fucking flower. And Thomas has barely existed. But there is something interesting coming up in this specific scene. Did you see that? The man on the motorcycle. Believe it or not, this was an important character to this movie at some point. While we've touched upon Diesel 10 being the film's main antagonist, he was never meant to be that. This is P.T. Boomer, the original main antagonist of the Magic Railroad. Basically, he and Burnett had a rivalry going on and he crashed Lady. He would then devote his life to trying to destroy her and kept pestering Burnett for her location. So you're probably asking, what happened to P.T. Boomer? Well, he scared test audiences and had to be cut back to make the film more appropriate for kids. P.T. is now just a random passerby who gets directions from Burnett now, but he does show up randomly at the end on top of Diesel 10 during the final chase. Also, stuff regarding the character has only really started to pop up in the last few years. Trivia time is over though. Back to the movie. Oh god, it's Toby! So as the film goes on, I gotta ask, where's the rest of the cast? I mean, it's understandable why the narrow gauge engines don't appear, but why not characters like Donald and Douglas? Even other characters that would make sense, like the original Diesel, don't make an appearance. And to my surprise, neither does Edward. Yeah, engine number 2 isn't in the movie, though this was because they didn't know what to do with him. I guess they all went to Bristol.
Thank you, Thomas. Special call will make me feel much better.
Magic.
Sweet Jesus, what the fuck?
Did you put all this here for me?
Alec, I just spent 2 days hauling these sacks from my universe to this godforsaken island.
But you must have known that I was coming. How kind of you. Oh, I'm at the windmill. Now that's what I call a perfect landing.
Yeah, you piss off. I gotta make a damn call now. Fucking asshole.
Conductor's Railroad.
Magic Railroad?
He said it! He said it! No, he's not a dog.
And you landed on
Well, let's just say he's a puppy.
Is Junior high?
Where's Lily?
I wish I knew.
Well, no witnesses. After some time, we finally get somewhere as Thomas attempts to cross the multiverse with Lily. Oh, and that accident I mentioned earlier with the buffers is where all that important coal has gone. So you might be asking, why is this section pretty roughly cut up? Well, that was P.T. Boomer's fault. In an effort to find Lady, he blew up part of the mountain, which is why Thomas just suddenly starts flying down the hills. Well, we finally reached the dreaded Red Room of Death. For whatever reason, James is just hanging around near a smelter.
If I'm going to be any help at all, it's now or never. I've got to use up the rest of this stuff.
But she never took a ride on Lady. I couldn't fix her in time.
God, that is as sad as the time that Troll killed his grandma was singing.
Dad, why won't you sing?
Because singing killed my grandma.
Okay, so plot MacGuffin here and there, and we finally have Lady back from the dead.
Climactic chase scene.
Obviously, the film ends on a good note. Shining Time Station is saved, and everyone has a happy ending. I think the best way to put this movie is it's just completely fucking insane. Obviously, the model work is infinitely better than what was seen on the show. I mean, it's a cinema budget, what do you expect? I'm also not really a lore snub for things, but this ignores so much of what was already established. In fact, the film was just kind of left in limbo, and it's not regarded as canon to this day, so it's kind of just in its own thing. Now here's a fun fact. Lady was played by Britt Allcroft, and the film revolves around how important she is to Sodor. And not to copy the works of another channel, you can figure out what she meant by this. Now unfortunately following the movie it was a box office bomb and ultimately changed the entire IP. Britt stepped down and the franchise was handed over to Hit Entertainment. But in 2020 the film was re-released to celebrate its 20th anniversary. So clearly the film wasn't all abandoned and has an interesting history to explore. Normally I rip into films, but with this being aimed at a much younger audience, what do you expect me to say honestly? It isn't great if you're trying to find a family night film, but as a film to distract the toddlers, sure, it beats some of the modern slop you find these days. But it's also so batshit insane that I can imagine you'd get a kick out of it watching it drunk. But at the end of the day, I came here to make you lot laugh at its insanity. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then I have a playlist of similar reviews up here. Please also consider subscribing and liking the video, it helps the channel a lot. Also, feel free to hype the video if you're on mobile. But that does it for today. I will see you all in the next video.